Hi, everybody, and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway for round 6 of the Speedvision World Challenge Touring Car Championship. I'm Greg Creamer, along with Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, John Bizignano will be joining us from the pits as we get into the racing action. But Dorsey, this is another weekend where these teams are facing a new track. For years, it's been a BMW Acura battle at the front of this. Each of those teams seem to have their own strengths.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you look at the BMW with the 6 cylinders, got a lot of torque. It gets off the corner good. The Acura's had more momentum, and it is a momentum car. It needs to get going now. Here at this racetrack, you know, it's an oval for most of the part. I think the torque might be good.
Well, we've seen that play out a little bit. BMWs have been very strong in practice and qualifying. Sometimes a new layout can breathe new life into some of the teams. That seems to be the case.
Yeah, I think the BMWs definitely have a huge advantage here, just being able to get out of the corners and then to make that corner and that, you know, that corner pay off for the next quarter mile.
We're not going to beat the BMWs on sheer raw horsepower. You know, it's going to be the 4 or 5 of us all working together and hopefully staying close enough that when it gets towards the end, we can work as a team to get around some of those top BMWs.
They're outweighing us as far as horsepower goes, and that is the bottom line, and that's what hurts here.
Well, I don't think it's all just the horsepower. We might have a little bit more, but we also have to weigh a lot more than the Acura, so that should balance it out. But a lot of it's the gearing, and we don't have a lot of choices on the gearing we're allowed to run. So some tracks it works perfect for, and some tracks we're a little off. And I think it's the same with the Acuras.
Yeah, I think the cars are pretty close. You know, it varies by track, and we're yet to see, I think, the strength of the Acuras this weekend. But they'll be there, BMWs be there. It'll be interesting to see whether we're very close. At Charlotte, there was a bit of differential between the Acuras and BMWs. Still, hopefully we'll see quality here this weekend.
Quality is what they gave in qualifying. Front-runner Neil Sapp blew a diff on the opening lap of qualifying, never even got a time, which set up a great battle. You just saw Don Salama on top of the curbs. Here comes Alfred Dupont in the European Racing Technologies Bimmer. These two battled back and forth. Salama looked pretty good for a while. The H&R Springs entry spent a bit of time relaxing in the pits, keeping track of what Dupont was doing. Then Dupont threw in a flyer, and Salama responded, went out and gave it a shot, tried to put together one last run, but he could not get it quite done, and Alfred Dupont in the number 51 European Racing Technologies BMW nailed his first pole position. It was a remarkable performance, and Calvin Fish has caught up with the always colorful Alfred Dupont.
It was no surprise in qualifying to see the BMWs outgun the Acuras on what is regarded as a horsepower track. But what was a bit of a shock was to see the older model, the E36 BMW, outperform the much newer cars. Now, one reason for that could be the very unique corners around this racetrack. So many of the drivers are complaining they're undecided whether to use second or third gear through these corners. For the BMWs, third gear seems to be the key. Now, with the older cars, a lower rear-end gear ratio allows it to use third gear and still have great acceleration. Now, Alfred Dupont has used this acceleration to good effect this weekend. He's dominated all the practice, all the qualifying sessions, in claiming his first pole position in Speedvision competition. Alfred, can you take it to the win? The car's really hooked up right now.
I hope so. The crew did a fantastic job getting the car hooked up, and we've really been working on that the last 3 races or so instead of just the driving, really trying to get the car hooked up. Seems to be working very well.
Well, Alfred Dupont will attempt to claim BMW's first win of the season, but the unique characteristics of this racetrack, John Bizignano, seem to suit the BMWs, but for the Acuras, it's really been a totally different story.
Well, Calvin, you're absolutely right. One of the characteristics about Texas Motor Speedway is this chicane, turn 1. Third gear, onto the banking, and down the long back straightaway. Now, historically, the Acura motors have been very competitive. In fact, a real-time car has been on the front row of every grid so far this year. But here in Texas, that high-revving motor with the low torque band just isn't working. They can't get out of this chicane, and they can't get out of turn 7, carry the momentum up the banking and down the long straightaways to keep up with the BMWs. But qualifying is one thing, and racing is another. The real-time boys are ready to go racing. It's going to be great to see them trying to come through this grid.
I think it'll be great, and of course that chicane adds a certain element to this track, Dorsey. As we look at our Audi track map, you look at it, you think, should be able to pass. Is that the case?
Well, up on the oval, you're going awfully fast, and those cars are drafting and so forth. When we get on the infield, that pavement's only 10 days old, very, very slippery, really pretty one line around that inside.
So qualifying up front is everything, and it's all BMW up front. Dupont and Salama, that battle we talked about in the qualifying highlights, they own the front row. Second row, another BMW. Will Turner, highest of the Acuras, Kevin Schrantz. third row. Once again, a good battle unfolding here. Mike Fitzgerald, busy weekend for Mike in the BMW, and Paul Alderman, a great performance for the young rookie in his BMW. Row number 4, Hugh Plum, another of the Acuras, and David Rosenblum, arguably the best qualifying performance of the Mazda 626 this season. Row number 5, huge surprise, Pierre Kleinubing, the fast guy of the Acuras, and Taz Harvey, also very quick. As we take a look, Dorsey, at the rest of the grid, it is so hot here as well. That's something we haven't really factored into this.
Well, these guys don't know what's going to happen on this infield. You know how these touring guys are. They're rough and tumble. They really get it on pretty hard. It's going to be pretty interesting with a guy like Kleinu starting toward the middle.
Yeah, obviously points on his mind big time, but he can't lag back. It's going to be a great one. Don't go away. Welcome back to the extreme heat of Texas, everybody. In Dorsey, temperatures up over 105 degrees. That's something that's been of concern just generally, but how about the standing start this series employs?
Well, it's 105 outside. The track's over 140 on the asphalt, which makes it very oily, very slippery, and a standing start, well, you know, it can be, it's really, really dicey. You got cold tires, an oily track. It's going to be a handful. Front-wheel drive cars, rear-wheel drive cars. We'll see what happens.
Well, the standing start in this category has generally favored the rear-wheel drive cars as that weight transfers backward. This is going to be fun to watch. We got some great onboards for you. Number 94, Don Salama. Up front on the H&R Springs BMW, Steve Pfeffer. He's in the John Hancock JJ Snacks BMW. You can see a little bit further back in the pack. Also carrying an onboard, number 42, Pierre Kleinubing in the BuySellerHold.com Acura. Another camera car will be Paul Alderman, number 50, the rookie in the European Racing Technologies BMW. Number 12, Mike Fitzgerald, another rookie in the Pure Image BMW, has an onboard. And number 8, Taz Harvey in the Dublin and Tracy Honda dealerships. Acura is going to be carrying an onboard as well. The cars have formed up in their position, the back of the field just joining everybody, clearing up. We're ready for that standing start again, folks. When that red series of lights goes out, that's when we start. Starting to build the revs. Watch for it and enjoy.
Well, a couple bad starts in the middle back there. Bunched the middle up pretty heavy.
Looked like a nice start by Fitzgerald, and the silver BMW moved up a couple of spots as well. Now, they don't run the chicane on the opening lap to let them sort out before they get to it on the second lap, so they're carrying some serious speed around this oval. And look at this drafting battle. DuPont, and he is being pressured. Salama up on the outside right there, and Will Turner right there.
Wide.
Oh, hugely wide.
Way wide, doesn't get it shut down. Now they're 3 wide going for this next right-hander. That's going to be pretty dicey. Of course, the teammates giving each other a little room there.
That's 94, that's Salama, 92 Turner, and oh, squeeze play down the inside, and DuPont gets nudged. Schrantz got into him. There goes Harvey taking massive evasive maneuvers. Nice job there. But, wow, Schrantz just looked like he got in a little too hot.
Well, it's not over yet. Look at these guys side by side. Any slip from the inside, you get right into the side of the other car. And that can be catastrophic if you get out this. You see there's no curbs in all the gravel out there. Locked up rear tire right there on that. Oh, big trouble. BMW out of control. That's Fitzgerald, comes in, slides into the 84, pushes him wide, and it bunches everybody up.
Boy, Fitzgerald wasn't even in frame until he got in and slipped and slid into those guys. Something happened huge. Fitzgerald locks up again and nudges that machine.
There he goes.
Gets him all crossed up.
Boy, look at these BMWs just pounding it. Look at that car. It's not even a lap old yet. It's all dented all the heck all the way front to the back.
That is not the normal driving style of a Mike Fitzgerald, and you got to wonder if something has gone wrong in the car. Let's go back and take a look, Doris. You replay the first incident right here. Watch for Schrantz. Boom, right there, gets into DuPont.
Well, that's just a stack up in the brake zone. Everybody got caught out. And look here. Here's a second look on board Taz Harvey. Watch up in front here. Everybody's too tight. They all got together. Watch Taz. Taz has got to get out. He goes into the gravel, fighting with it in there, comes back out.
On board now with Fitzgerald, and right here he gets hammered as DuPont gets thrown into him. And I wonder if right there he didn't damage something in that car.
Well, there was a second hit right there. One of the Acuras just bounced off him.
Now this is a replay of the second, and so watch that.
Oh boy, Fitzgerald was in the gravel, all crossed up, no way to stop, and uses the back end of his car to slide right into the middle of one of the Acuras. There we go.
Well, he just absolutely got it wrong there, and of course dirty tires and the like, some sort of problem. Maybe John Bizignano down the pits has an answer. Biz, what's going on?
Well, Mike Fitzgerald has made it back to the pits just barely. Of course, that right front tire is absolutely flat. He's also taken a lot of damage on the bodywork to the right front. I don't think it got into the suspension, but there in the cooling system, there is certainly some damage to maybe one of the oil coolers behind where the headlight should be. Also, all down the left side of the car, there's nothing but tire marks. They're going to be trying to bang this out and get him back on the track, but basically, Mike's race is over.
And what a pendulum swing. He had a huge win in the GT division earlier, and now out on the first lap in the touring category. That sometimes is just tough to deal with. Meanwhile, up front, Don Salama leads, and leads pretty comfortably at this point as he's got his teammate in tow, Dorsey, Will Turner. You always like that scenario.
And a lot of the good cars he was worried about are now eliminating themselves in that first lap, so that is a good thing.
Here's a good battle shaping up for 8th. That's Paul Alderman up front. That's the number 50 European Racing Technologies BMW. The white cars, 00, Mark Reed and the patented Acura. Behind them is Pierre Kleinubing, the buy-sell-or-hold.com Acura Integra on board with Kleinubing. And this is very unfamiliar territory for him as he sits in 10th right now and is just trying to figure out what to do about the BMW onslaught and earn some points. We're early into the going here. Don't go away. For all your racing information at the end of the weekend, tune in Sundays to Speedvision News Race Week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. Pacific. Speedvision News Race Week, your racing information source. The end of a great weekend of racing around the country. We are on board right now with Taz Harvey. That's that Dublin and Tracy Honda dealerships, Acura Integra, right in the mix of a good battle. That's that dive down to the chicane. A little bit of pounding of the curbing up there, right there. And Taz has been showing a little bit of damage to the back of the car. Doesn't look severe, but John Bizignano, any more you can tell us about that?
Taz Harvey is definitely rolling something off the back of the car. It's been dragging out for the last several laps. Checking with the SCCA, they realize that it's nothing but a rubber body trim that was on the rear bumper. Obviously, he got tagged back there. Right now, there's no plan to bring him in.
Well, that's great news for Taz, Dorsey. I mean, he's sitting in 4th right now, and he's in a great battle for 3rd and a podium.
That damage is not severe. It's hanging down a little bit of the bumper filler, but that's not going to do anything. It doesn't look like a danger if it drops off either.
You know, Taz also got off track in that incident, and that's where he got the damage, I'm sure. But what do you think that's done to tires?
Well, you know, that's what they got to worry about is punctures. We've seen a lot of punctures in the races today, and it's all because of these rocks. Guys, right there, for instance, see, drop that wheel in there, bring those rocks out there. The guy behind you got to run right over those to get it flat.
Now, there's a look. The silver car in the front of this queue is Neil Sapp. Remember, he has been so fast, and he's in a battle with Kleinubing for the point lead. Problem in that qualifying run, broke the car and couldn't even get a lap in. He's up to 19th. Now, Sapp has been in SCCA amateur competition, has stepped up to the pros very nicely.
My family's always been car-oriented, and when I was in my early teens, my older brother Bill took me to an autocross race and watched him do that, which is parking lot racing. It's a downsized version of a road race. And in 1985, I entered my first autocross myself and did that for a few years. Went to the next step, which is regional road racing in the SCCA. Took the next step from there, which is the national level. And this year made the next step, which is the Pro Series, which is decided to do the World Challenge. Like I said, I have a great team with TC Klein Racing, the cars, the BMWs. I mean, they don't call them the ultimate driving machines for nothing. The only thing my effort here is really lacking was a really good sponsor. And as you can see, we got plenty of room on this gorgeous BMW to put somebody's name on there. I'd have to thank my wife, Jane. She's been a great supporter, my biggest supporter, to help me and believe in me that I could, come into the series and do well. And financially, she's helped me make this next step because we don't have any sponsor right now. So she's been a big help in making my dreams come true and make it in this series. So I just hope that I can parlay it into something bigger and keep with it and make it her efforts worth their while.
I would say with his performances this season, Dorsey, he has done her nothing but proud, and he continues to march to the front. Oh, Pierre Kleinubing, smoke from the back. That's a huge blow if it's going to be terminal here for the gentleman who is going after another championship and has been running way up in the points, and it's in the cockpit, Dorsey.
Oh, it's coming in from inside somewhere. It's not real bad so far, though.
Well, he's just going to have to focus, try and figure out what it is. We're going to step away for a moment as well.
Well, it didn't lose that much oil, and you saw the oil cap was missing. Now, it might have come unscrewed or it might have broken. These little Acuras revved over 9,000 revs, and that's a little plastic cap, and sometimes those revs will break that cap. But anyway, it cost him pretty dearly.
Yeah, and obviously you can see he was still smoking when he left the pits. As Calvin said, he's going to have to be dealing with that for just a little bit. Good look at the up front run here of Salama, chased by his teammate again. That is Will Turner. Good look there at Don Salama. And there, all those stones up on the track. They cleaned the track before they started the race, but that off-course excursion by Fitzgerald really loaded that corner up. And there you see, that's Kevin Schrant, sits in third. Look at this battle. There's Taz Harvey, and right behind him now is Alfred Dupont, who got whacked seriously around early in this race. Dropped well back, but Dorsey, he is mounting a serious charge and is catching this guy, Taz Harvey.
He is. As you look at Taz Harvey right there, this guy's had the worst luck this year. Just hasn't had the results he wanted. He's a very good driver, and he needs a little bit of luck here, and he's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, DuPont in that blue and white ERT, European Racing Technologies BMW. And this is where that car really comes good. Looks down to the inside and just drives by. Now it's a late braking duel into the chicane.
Well, I'll tell you what happens with the little Acuras. They just can't get spooled up. That little chicane right there really slows them up, and they can't get the momentum up. They don't get the thing up in the top gear to well around this banking. And look at that BMW just pull away with the torque it makes.
Just great launch out of that chicane. That's what we've been talking about here. So DuPont looks very, very strong right now as we sit on board with Harvey. And look at that. DuPont just rifles underneath Schrantz, and that's now for third. Oh, here comes Schrantz, a counter move.
Got in too hot, couldn't get the car stopped, got out of the outside. Schrantz seizes that opportunity, drives up the inside. Harvey watches all this from behind and wants to get part of that too.
Boy, DuPont, though, he got under. Oh, look at this move as Schrantz. Wow, did he set him up beautifully, but now DuPont inside for the first part of the chicane. Schrantz trying to work it on the exit, and DuPont covers that nicely.
Well, Schrantz should be strong on the infield here, but when they go on that banking, that BMW is going to show you some legs. And right here, we're riding on board with Taz Harvey, and he's looking up there. He wants to get just a little bit closer so he can have a part of that in case they get together.
Well, this is some great action here. This is what we've seen in the Touring Car Championship for some 3 seasons anyway now. One thing I'm noticing on Schrantz's car, looks like he's got some damage up the front, and that nose and that spoiler as a result is absolutely on the deck. That going to be a possible run-in with Tech at the end of this race?
No, I don't think so, but he probably has run in the back of somebody. And you see the whole front clip is pushed down, you know, on that first lap when he made contact. You see it right there. It's all bent down, but it's not really an aero problem, and I don't think it's really hurt the radiator either.
I would think it would be anything but an aero problem. I think it'd be great clearing up all that air underneath that car. He's probably got some nice stick happening right now.
Oh, he needs all the help he can get because he's lame in the straightaway. Look at the BMW launch. Bicycles, DuPont bicycles off the curb. That was a big two-wheeler through there.
Wow, he just hammered the curb here as he's trying out, of course, to make his way up to that duo of H&R Springs drivers up at the front. That, of course, being Salama and Turner. But right now, he has got a lot of ground that he needs to make up here.
Look at his left rear bumper panel there. He's got a big tire mark from somebody. We go forward up to Sap, or back to Sap. He started the back, and he is now all the way to 12th place, so he's flying.
Boy, has he put together a great race. And under these conditions with the heat and the like, he seems to be driving incredibly smooth, precise, and as a result, very fast.
And that's what you have to do in this heat, is you have to not slide the car on. Don't make more heat than's already out there, because there's plenty to be had already.
And notice he's staying off the curbs, and he's being real gentle with the car, maybe still a little bit wary of those differential problems. They seem to have solved them.
Well, he sure had a lot of differential problems, and sometimes that's because they tighten the rear end up, try to make it like a locker so both wheels let, and that's a lot of strain, and they'll break, and I think that's probably what they've been having happen.
And of course, I mean, they have to be lubricated with differential oil and the like, and in this heat, they are taking a thrashing in terms of temperature as well. But what a great drive by Sap. But up front, a huge performance by Don Salama in the H&R Springs BMW. He has led from the get-go, briefly lost the lead on the backside, repassed it, took it back. He's led from then on. What a show. The heat continues to build here in Texas, as does the intensity on the track. Dorsey, we are watching a great drive from Alfred Dupont, who is now taking a run at Turner and catching him. That would be for second, and there you can see how close Salama is as well. This has been a great drive.
Boy, look under braking. He really gets the thing in deep, makes up the whole deficit. Now we have a really good race for the lead.
Let's watch it here now in that infield section. Look at him. He takes a look right here. dives down underneath, and he made that look almost incredibly easy.
Well, he made it look awfully easy. Now it moves him up into second place. He's split by the two Turner BMWs, and he's going after the leader now, and I think he's the fastest car on the course right now.
Certainly looks it, but what's impressing me is he's also getting down into the braking zones very deep and very stable, so that car just flat seems to be hooked up.
Well, he made all of the ground there in the braking zone on both those corners. He just drove in a lot deeper and made up the whole deficit on Turner.
Now, of course, we've been following the progress of Neil Sapp, who has had that real troubled qualifying run in the Pro Parts BMW. He now has found his way up to 11th and is moving up even closer than that. Actually, he's working on Mark's right here. This is for 11th, and let's watch it. You can see some damage to Mark's car, and Sapp just slides through underneath, and that has given him now 11th. So he is having just a superb run.
And look right in front of him, 10th place isn't that far off either, so it won't be long, maybe half this lap, he'll be on the number 10.
Boy, Marks must be wondering about those silver BMWs. It was Fitzgerald who caused that damage. Now Sapp moves by him for position as well. And as you said, there is the 10th place car, not that far in front either. So they're having a good run.
Look at
now
this.
Look at this, and DuPont, that's for the lead.
That was an incredible amount of speed to carry in there and make it side by side off the corner right now. Wow, ooh, that was a good gallop. Salama on the outside, but he locks the right rear.
Did you see that huge push by Salama right there?
Yeah, he's had a big push in every corner, and he locked the right rear that time. Boy, I tell you what, that car is really working. See how deep he got in there?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Looked like he came from Addison to make that pass.
Well, I thought there was going to be a wreck there. I didn't think he'd ever get stopped. Salama looking to the inside, that's going to be futile, I can tell you that right now.
Oh, DuPont slipped a little wide there.
Who am I to say? Bang!
Oh.
He says, take that.
Little bump and run, and Salama ends up back in front. But what a great series of corners on the infield that these two have put together. It looks like Salama launch off the corner, but DuPont's been bad fast on the oval too.
You know what, though? I think that woke Salama up. Let's go back and look at that again. Right here, Salama, after being hammered, drives right to the inside. That very aggressive move. Boom, right there. He sticks the quarter panel out and says, there you go, take that. I think it woke him up. I think he was just sit back riding, and now he's in full song.
Boy, and look at him. Look at DuPont as well, hammering the curves. Now keep in mind that right there, Salama led it at start finish, and as far as the statisticians are concerned, he never lost the lead. He has led every lap so far, even though they swapped it a couple of times. That's important to the guys when they say, yeah, I led start to finish. We want to point that out for Salama.
Well, DuPont doesn't care about all that. He says, I'm still coming at you. And I tell you what, this is a real good race right now between pretty equal cars.
Salama's being a little more defensive down off of the oval into the infield, though. He's not giving DuPont any gap because he knows DuPont will come from way back to try it. Like he almost did there.
Well, you know, I think probably what happened was he'd been so used to seeing his teammate in the rearview mirror that he got into a comfortable little groove, was just driving along there, and out of nowhere, here comes DuPont and just slams him in the turn one.
Boy, that was a great effort by DuPont, but then very, very impressive just how calmly and coolly Salama stayed with it, didn't let that rattle him too bad. As you said, maybe woke him up, got back by him, and now has opened up, it's not a huge margin, but it's a little bit.
Well, he's not getting out broke anymore, that's for sure, so he's being more aggressive, and they're both these guys using the car pretty hard right now.
Once again, out of the infield, up onto the oval, and Salama seems to be getting that launch very, very nicely right now, as they are heading up onto the track right now, working their way around the oval here to complete yet another lap here in the heat of the Texas Motor Speedway complex. A great facility, by the way. Coming around onto the front straight here, and you know, we're getting a report he may be getting a black. He does. There's a black flag at start finish, and Dorsey, the report is for going beneath the allowable racing line, exiting the chicane. So let's go. We've checked some tape, and we might be able to find this for you. Watch this.
See the double yellow line right there? He's 4 wheels to the inside of that. Now, the chief steward said you can't go down there. The reason is the new pavement was breaking up, and that's where the apron for the oval is, and he's below the apron. So when he comes back up, he's going to take a big chunk off, and they said that's a no-no.
Well, and he let it happen, and as a result, he'll pay the price. We'll be right back. Hey, you think these guys cross it up? Have you ever watched the FIA World Rally Championship? Next round from Cyprus, Monday, October 2nd, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. These guys are wild. Those guys are nuts. Don't miss it. That is some awesome stuff. Looking once again, number 94, Don Salama, continues to hold sway up at the front, but DuPont, who was running second, has made that stop hugely costly.
Boy, you're not kidding. When you get a stop and go on a high-speed oval, it's really ugly.
It's ugly for DuPont, but apparently, Calvin, Will Turner problems as well. He's in the pits.
Well, Will Turner is in the pits as well. Big problems here on the BMW. He said the brake pedal went hard and then the engine started missing, so I'm not sure if it's some kind of electrical problem where the two are connected. Very unusual. The crew's gone around there underneath the hood there trying to see if there's anything disconnected, but everything looks okay. And meanwhile, we're under green flag racing, so this is really costing Will big time out on the racetrack.
What a shame, too. He's having such a solid run behind this guy, his teammate Don Salama, who's been running very strongly, as we said, right from the beginning. Now, Kevin Schranz, after that first lap problem, and you can see the damage to that spoiler on the front, since then, Dorsey, he's been very quietly, but quickly effective.
Yeah, he's doing fine. I don't think that damage hurt anything, although you see the spoiler rub on the ground and puff smoke every once in a while. It might, like you said, be helping little aero on this banking here.
Well, he certainly seems to be working very well. You can see he started fourth, got involved in that incident, but has just stayed put and has worked his way up into a very strong, really second place at this point, and he's got to be enjoying that. Now, not too far behind him, though, is a great battle going on. Remember, Paul Alderman and DuPont after his black flag. Alderman and DuPont, and look at DuPont coming up. This is a battle for fourth, and DuPont, once again, boy, he gets off of the oval and into that infield, seemingly from anywhere from a long ways back, just planted, whereas we're on board with Alderman.
Look at Alderman right there. That thing is his radio helmet hookup right there that's right in our eyes. That DuPont is unbelievable how deep he gets down into the corner.
Boy, he's obviously getting good bite from the tires. The brakes working well. The car sticking nicely. And they now are just sort of flying in formation with, as we said, DuPont now up into fourth. Alderman sitting right there in fifth. And it's nice to have some familiar company on your bumper. I mean, these guys have been beating each other up pretty good when they're up against the competitors.
Well, for Alderman, it might show where he's weak. It might might wake him up too, and show DuPont if that his car can start there. Well, I can stop there too.
Absolutely, causing some concerns. Now, we talked earlier and heard the report from Cal that Will Turner's out of the race. Cal, I understand you're with Will now.
Will, things were looking pretty sweet there for Turner Motorsports, running 1-2. What put you out of the event?
Wow, yeah, things were looking great. Don and I kind of settled into a pace, and we said we're just going to hang with this pace because we had a pretty good lead. We didn't think Alfred could hang with our pace for very long, but he did catch us, but we thought we could stay ahead of him. We were on the radio a lot. I was going down the straightaway, and all of a sudden I started losing power. And the next corner, I lost brake pressure. So something in the vacuum line or vacuum system went with the motor and put me out. It's a shame.
Oh, it's a huge shame. They may have been on the way to a 1-2 finish for the H&R Springs team. Look at this battle. This is for 14th. Up on the outside is Manny Matz, and he is going around Drew Hagestad. Hagestad in the lone VW in the field, the Jetta. That's the battle for 14th. Both of them started back near the 20th spot, so they're having a very successful and quick race.
Doesn't look like the VW just had enough ponies on the straightaway. BMW ate him up, but look here on the infield. Volkswagen looking pretty good there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the handling playing right into his hands, but then they get onto this launch pad once again, and Matt's able to just ease away a little bit here. And obviously that Jetta program is one that's in a lot more development. A little bit of smoke there as well.
Yeah, he's got a little puff and smoke out from underneath there. Maybe the motor's working pretty hard. Under braking, VW superior. Oh, a little loose. And look right behind, that's Pierre Kleinubing, who is now caught up to that after making his pit stop. He's up battling for 14th. He's going to go underneath the VW.
And
Can he get them both?
About him, not quite there, but if he stays
but
put
he's
low.
inside. He's inside Matt's. A little slide, he corrects it. He's got both of them.
Wow, that was one corner basically, and look at him throw the car around. Nice. That's one of the nice things about the front wheel drive. You get a little squirrely like that, you just give it more throttle and it'll just pull you right around those chicanes. Nice job right there by Pierre Kleinubing. He's having a very solid race after all of his early problems.
He's got a tough weekend, didn't qualify well. That darn oil cap came off. You know, that's not his fault. It put him way back in the back, but look at him thrash this thing to the front now.
He's absolutely got the hammer dropped and is setting sail to the front. Of course, he and Sapp have been arguing over the points championship all season long, and normally Kleinubing's been the guy there, so he's definitely on a mission. We go back and watch that battle for now 15th, and now we're on bat with Pierre Kleinubing, and this is what his car is all about, and it's been successful.
Almost unbeatable. 205 horsepower they climb out of the 1.8-liter motor. Like I told you, over 9,000 RPM. Big brakes. Brembo 4-piston brakes, Eibach springs, Borla exhaust. this has been an unbeatable car over the last 3 years.
It has taken many drivers to lots of wins, and of course Klein Ubing and Mike Galati, who's now in the GT division, to a lot of championships as well. This is a good place to start. There's no question of that. These are a very sorted car, and that makes the success ratio go up just a little bit, certainly. And Klein Ubing, I don't know that anybody drives these cars any more impressively than does Pierre Klein Ubing. We have 18 of 25 laps complete. Here's your top 10. We've got a lot to go. Welcome back to Texas. Alfred Dupont has not yet given it up. He is on his way, and he is trying to run down Taz Harvey and is having an absolutely great race. Taz right now is running third. This is the lap car Harvey's working on, and Dupont not that far behind. And believe me, Harvey looks in that mirror. He sees blue and white. He knows he's got to get by this lap car as fast as possible.
Like I said, Taz Harvey's had a really tough couple of years now, and he needs a little break. He really does, just to keep his spirits up. He's a good driver, but he's had the worst luck.
Well, nice move there. He really has had some just atrocious luck. He's very quick. He's an independent. He runs by himself. Last year, he tried to field a 2-3 car team, and his co-drivers kept getting involved in some horrendous wrecks, and the budget just ran out, basically. Now Taz is trying to do it on his own, and he remains incredibly quick, but snake bit.
You see him right now. He's using all the track up, and you can tell, you're right, he knows that the BMW is coming, and he's really driving the car well right now. He just, you know, he's got to be thinking to himself, what can possibly go wrong next?
Now there's a look at Don Salamas. He continues to lead, and now quite comfortably up at the front. However, he's working traffic, and with the temperature conditions here, ambient-wise, trying to get air to those radiators might be creating some temperature problems. Biz, what's going on?
Don Salama is very happy to be leading this event, but he phoned home and the team says that the temperatures are going up. He has no traffic in front of him. He's getting clean air through all of the radiators, oil and water, but the temps are still soaring. He's going to be very happy to see that checkered flag. Let's hope it all holds together for him.
Well, John, I think he's very happy to have got through those 2-lap cars as quickly as he did, too, and get more of that air into those radiators.
You know, did you see right there when he passed Drew Hagstead in the VW? We saw him earlier smoking. Well, look at that car now. It's smoking pretty heavily from behind.
That's something we'll have to keep an eye out, certainly, here. He continues in his battle with Matz, and now I believe Ed Scherbaum is starting to close in on that group. So everybody, of course, chasing right here, 94 Salama, and what a great run he has had as he continues to just check out here at the front. I mean, this is as big a margin, I think, as we've seen in the touring car division.
Well, Salama's glad to be by those 3 guys battling back there, because you don't want to get mixed up in that. And with one of the cars dumping oil or smoking, you have to worry, particularly when you got this much lead. There is the battle right now we talked about.
And that's Ed Scherbaum, and he's in the Nova Solutions Nissan, and that car has some serious legs on the oval. It's a little bit out of sorts on the infield, but man, does it go like stink in a straight line.
Well, he went underneath that BMW. We haven't seen a BMW passed all day on that oval, so I don't know. That thing's flying.
Yeah, it's definitely hooked up. Watch for him now under braking. You can see the Bimmer closes up just a little bit. Whoa, does he hammer that curve?
And there's that double yellow line. He almost went across it, but he stayed inside, so that's okay.
Look at how far he's drawn away from these two here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The guy's absolutely flying. Now Hagstead down on the bottom, looking on the low side with the VW. Look at the smoke. There it is again. Really coming out of the back underneath the car.
Boy, and he's got one of the buy-seller hold Acuras right behind him, too. Off the oval they go.
Oh, too much.
He's gone.
Way too much speed.
Oh, nice save.
Boy, oh boy, I don't know. Now, maybe with some oil on the rear tires there, he got in pretty deep, though. I'll say that he was really in deep on the brake zone, and the back end didn't stick.
Well, he's obviously trying to keep that move, keep Matz underneath and off of his bumper there, and he just took it in deep. But still, in all, boy, I wonder about that oil. That's a good point. He's been blowing that oil smoke out the entire race. But we saw him get loose going into there once before, too.
Yeah,
so.
he was in awful deep that time, though. I didn't know if he was going to get stopped or not. It might have just locked up the brake. Or if he's got oil in the tires, it could do that, too.
Now, once again, we go back and take a look at this battle. Paul Alderman is now closing on Dupont. And Dupont has been the fastest car on the track, and now Paul Alderman, who Dupont went by like a rocket earlier, just sails through. Dupont must have something going wrong with that car, perhaps tires.
Well, or brakes. Remember how hard he was braking. He might have overheated it, and he couldn't stop at that time.
So now things change hands just a little bit further back in the pack, but with 21 of 25 laps complete, it's Salama up front. Welcome back to Texas. There's a look at Paul Alderman, who now is in fourth, and in fact now is drawing away from Alfred Dupont. So you have to just think that Dupont in those, 3 charges back up to the lead group, just use the car up a little bit. Now we slide forward a little bit. There's Taz Harvey in that Dublin and Tracy Honda dealerships. Acura sits now in the 3rd spot. And he has just had really arguably one of his best races. Had that damage early, it really hasn't affected him. He didn't let it affect him mentally. And in this heat and the like, he's just driven brilliantly.
And you can bet he liked all that battling between the teammates he saw in the rearview mirror, knowing that that was slowing the two of them up while he slowly pulls away.
Yeah, he's done everything right in this one. And, you know, some of that luck that he's been suffering from in the past, maybe he's finally shaken that just a little bit. He has certainly proven what he's about here as a driver. Well, there's a nice shot from that onboard. A little spherical glowing there from the onboard cameras.
I saw he had a little cool suit on, too. You saw the 2 little wires running off to the side of the car, passenger side, a little cool vest he's wearing to keep himself calmed down.
It's probably going to help him certainly as well here. Now let's take a look at our Toyota race reset. The leader is Don Salami. He has led every lap. Remember that lead change, it didn't affect him at the start-finish line, so 0 lead changes and 5 cars out. And again, a fairly good field. I am impressed once again with the fact that only 5 cars have dropped out, considering the conditions that these cars are being subjected to, and the drivers too. I mean, they've been hanging right in there, doing a nice job. Now, Neil Sapp, we've been watching his progress through the field. He's up to 8th. Talk about a great drive, and look at that car. Doesn't have a wrinkle on it. He started dead last, and it is pristine, and it is progressing.
Doing a great job, Neil is. And, you know, the camera doesn't show and the TV doesn't tell how darn hot it is out here. For these guys to work that hard like Sapp to come from the back and go all the way through, man, it's tough.
It is very tough, and again, I'm impressed. You look at that car, there's not a wrinkle in it. I mean, he has done this as clean as can be. Obviously, he'd like to have been a little bit further up and really be able to take advantage of Kleinubing's struggles, who is still behind him, though, and that's the good news for him. Meanwhile, Don Salama, as we pointed out in our Toyota race reset, has been very effective. Coming up, another lap on one of the buysellerhold.com machines, this one a little bit further back in the pack, and we expect the white flag to come out this time off of the tri-oval here, or the dog leg, I should say, here at Texas Motor Speedway. And there it is, 1 to go.
Well, I was going to say, Salama's not going to take any chances now. Nobody can run him down on the racetrack. The only way he can lose this is a mechanical failure or to make some big catastrophic error of his own. I don't think that'll happen.
Now, one of the things here, you'd think, okay, you can slow down a little bit. You've got this this big lead, but with this heat and the toll that takes on you mentally, is it sometimes better to just stay with the pace you're running? You've got that rhythm established, do everything the same, because if you slow down, then you can make an error.
He'll probably just give up a little in the brake zone, give up a little on the RPM, shift a little earlier, but still run the corner speeds as hard as you can. It's even hot with the, you know, the sun coming in this booth, and we got AC. It's hot here, so this guy, you know, he's sweating.
Oh, he is working it awfully hard inside that car. The only AC he's got is open windows, and that's about 110-degree blast furnace, really, that's coming at him. I mean, that's near the temperature you baste a turkey at.
You know, these guys have said it's like taking a blow dryer and holding it in front of your face and turning it on. That's what that cold air feels like. It's not cold, it's hot.
So they're doing absolutely yeoman duty. And I'll tell you one thing, if anybody has ever wondered if race car drivers are athletes because they're sitting in a seat just driving a car, when these guys get out of the car, especially on a day like today, and they've lost, what, 10, 15 pounds of body weight just through fluid loss and the like, believe me, athlete is the only way to describe it.
Well, it's over 150 degrees in there, and they're wearing 3 layers of quilting. And you see the windows are all boxed up, closed up as much as possible to keep air from going in there and creating drag. So, yeah, it's plenty hot in there.
It's exceptionally hot. They are out of the last turn onto that tri-oval and the dogleg one more time. And Don Salama, a rookie in this division of racing, keeps the rookie flavor alive this weekend here with a dominating win in the H&R Springs BMW. Mike Fitzgerald in the GT race earlier, he won. He was a rookie in that division, the same Mike Fitzgerald that had the problems earlier in this race. And Salama, as a rookie, has done it here. And look at the celebration going on. And Schrantz, a very, very heady drive to second.
Yeah, and it's great to see a rookie go out there and not be a rookie. Made no mistakes, you know, just showed him all his taillights all day long. That's the way to do it.
That is indeed the way to do it, and he is going to savor, even though it's hot as can be, he is going to savor this victory lap. I would think it was hard-earned, and it was executed to near perfection. A brilliant drive. Schrantz is second, and Taz Harvey shakes the bad luck off, maybe. He's the third and final podium spot.
The Speedvision World Challenge is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Welcome back to Texas, where Calvin Fish has found our winner, but he drove hard and he wants to look good when he gets out for the interview. He's out of the car now. Calvin is there.
Well, it shouldn't be no surprise. Don Salama had 2 podium finishes coming into Texas Motor Speedway, and he scored a victory here today, the first for BMW, and boy, is he happy. Don, what a performance. You had a great opening lap. It was a 1-2 for Turner Motorsports. You hung in there, high water temperatures, but you kept it going.
We were awesome. We were running hot the whole time. DuPont was the real guy that gave us a little push in the middle there, but something happened to him, I don't know, and we were cruising. We were short shifting. We saved the car. It was awesome. Awesome race.
What are your goals for the rest of the year? Rookie of the Year certainly is a possibility. You're going to chase Neil, and good position in this championship overall.
We're going to need a little help from Pierre to get back up in first for championship, but we're going to go for rookie, no doubt about it.
Great performance today.
All right, thank you, Calvin.
That was a brilliant performance today, and Dorsey, I think you put it well. A rookie doesn't drive like a rookie. There's a celebration. Calvin enjoying it down there as well. Let's take a look at our full field results. Salama, Schrantz, Harvey, great drives. Alderman and DuPont, the teammates, 4th and 5th. DuPont's drives were great. Noticeably, Sapp up to 8. Kleinubing, as we take a look at the next page, only 11. That is a huge point swing.
Yeah, it is, and it was a tough weekend for Kleinubing. Didn't qualify well, had that oil cap come off, had to fight real hard for an 11th place. You don't see that often.
Not at all, but he didn't give up either, and that made for a great race for him. Now, his teammate, Kevin Schrantz, though, up on the podium in 2nd, and he's with Biz.
Congratulations on a great second place run. A little bit of damage there to the left front. What happened up there?
Well, on this track in particular, the horsepower is really favors the BMWs. This is a BMW circuit, and so on the start, we just got hammered. And luckily, some of the BMWs made a mistake, and they got a little sideways in one of the infield corners, and then I just was the next driver in line, so I had to check up and got into one of them. But it wasn't enough damage to slow me down at all or overheat the car.
You just didn't have the legs for him today, did you?
Not at all. You know, as good as the Acura's are, the BMWs certainly have a horsepower advantage over us here, and it really showed.
Okay, now this sack was full of ice when you started out, but it became a real problem during the race. What happened?
Well, we put some ice in my driver's suit to help keep us cool, and the water drained down underneath my butt, and the steam started percolating. I felt like a big steamed broccoli in there, and it just was in serious pain the whole way through.
There's no out for that one, guys.
Oh, I don't know, Biz. How about out of the car right now? Let's take a look at the points. Kleinubing still leads over Sapp. Oval Sapp close. Schrantz 2nd, moves him to 3rd. Salama, Wynn goes to 4th. Harvey's 5th, and he's also with Cal.
Taz Harvey, those BMWs were strong. Unfortunately, one of them finished, took the win, but you had a great performance today.
Well, it's thanks to my crew, and I got a great start, too. You know, like they say in Texas, this isn't my first barbecue. And I got a good jump on the start, and I went through some just insane traffic and popped out it, no problem. So, just started, working on conserving my tires, and I banged off a stretch of 10 laps that were within a 10th of a second of each other. I just tried to be consistent, and hopefully, DuPont, I thought was going to run me down. I was really getting worried. So, everything worked out. It's about time. These guys worked their asses off, and they deserve a big round of applause.
All right, Taz Harvey had rear bodywork loose, but he brought it home for a podium finish.
And maybe got rid of some of that bad luck. The Boiler Performance Award, one of the more coveted awards, it goes to Neil Sapp, up from dead last to 8th on the grid, and he is with Biz.
Neil, congratulations on a great drive through the field.
Thanks, Biz. I can't be happier with the TC Klein BMW. It broke on the first lap in qualifying. The guys got it fixed with 5-10 minutes to go before the race. We weren't sure if it was going to hold up. We were running a lot of hot temperatures. It held up. We moved up through the pack pretty good, and surprised that we really got 8th. I was real tickled to get a top 10.
Every needle was absolutely pegged on this car, but he brought it home.
It was indeed a brilliant drive. Now, the next round of coverage of the Speedvision Touring Car Championship here in Speedvision will be Saturday, October 21st, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, from the challenging and daunting undulations of Road Atlanta. Do not miss it. It is going to be great. For all your information about racing on the net, speedvision.com is your source. That's it from here at Texas Motor Speedway. For Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, and John Bisognano, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much for joining us here, everybody. We will see you next time. Take care.